In this episode, I want to help you think differently about the people who work for you. In fact, I want you to think of them as a team rather than as a collection of individuals. Ready to learn how to transform them into something special? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you, so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that we can learn a good lesson from looking at how Uncle Sam looks at personal transformation, that there's a big difference in having good people on your team and having a high-performance team, and that if you want your business to thrive, you need to introduce those who work for you to 4 simple transforming truths. Here's my question for you this week. Do you have a team of individuals or a true high-performance team? This week, I want to talk to you about the power of transformation, and specifically the power that comes from transforming the individuals who work for you into a team of people who are your most powerful competitive weapon. We're all familiar with the claims of transformation that we hear from weight loss supplements or one-of-a-kind diet programs. They're everywhere on our social media feeds and in the commercials we watch on TV. It's no surprise because the global weight loss and weight management market exceeded $224 billion in 2021 and is expected to grow to over $400 billion by 2030, a compound annual growth rate of 6.8%. Those are crazy numbers for sure. What that means is that people around the world long for and seek out personal transformation, and they're willing to pay big bucks to get it. So what if I told you that I had a simple 4-step process that could help you transform your current group of employees into a powerful, competition-crushing, competitive advantage for your business? How valuable would that be to you and your business? It may not be worth $224 billion, but I'll bet it's worth the 10 minutes of your time I'm asking you to focus on it right now. You see, most businesses are running on fumes of tired, unmotivated, distracted, and often disengaged employees, and their financial results clearly show it. We're watching banks go into default because no one's paying attention to the details of their risk profiles. We're seeing large retailers close because they have lost their competitive edge and their expenses are massively exceeding their revenues. I was thinking about this recently as I was waiting for my wife to pick up a few items from our local grocery store. As we drove into the parking lot, I noticed that the grocery cart return bins were overflowing with carts. I mentioned it to my wife that there are probably no carts available for shoppers as they arrive because they're all in the parking lots. Only minutes later, I watched an employee of the grocery store saunter out of the store and head for one of the overflowing cart return stations. He was clearly killing time, not in a hurry, walking with his head down and not paying attention to the world around him. As he got to the return cart area, he slowly pulled 3 carts together and began a slow, deliberate walk back into the store. I was struck by a couple of thoughts. Why did he seem to be so tired? Was it the end of a long shift? Why was he walking so slowly without any sense of purpose and goal? And mostly I was thinking, why did he only get 3 carts when he could have easily put 8 to 10 carts together without much effort? By the time he returned the 3 carts to the front of the store, I counted at least 12 new customers who walked into the store, probably each looking for a cart to use for their shopping. I can only imagine the frustration each shopper had as they waited to snag a cart from a shopper who had just finished shopping because there were none available as they walked in. And I didn't have to wait long to hear how frustrating it was, because when my wife finally returned from the store, It was the first thing she said, with total frustration about her shopping experience. This type of thing happens every day at many businesses across our country, and sometimes it feels like there's no way to change it. It has become what we tolerate and we think we must put up with when hiring employees today. But I don't think that's the case. In fact, it makes me think of the one organization on this planet that has a proven track record of being able to transform a lazy, uninterested, unskilled person into a rock-solid, high-performing employee. Which organization is that? It's the military. Think about it. The military is perhaps the only organization that's been successful across generations of taking someone who has little to no skills and shows little to no interest and turning them into a part of the strongest fighting machine on the planet. So just how do they do that? What are they doing that perhaps we as business owners should consider doing more of in our businesses? I believe there are 4 specific things that the military does to transform people from just average citizens into a powerful, unified force. And for the record, I'm not just making this up. I'm one of the people who has gone through this transformation, starting as a young, somewhat indifferent high schooler from a poor rural town and reluctantly going through the 4 transformational elements as part of the military. As I look back on it, it was absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me. And I think it's time for business owners to step up and take their employees through these simple yet powerful elements to transform their employees into a high-performing, highly engaged team that will kick the pants off their toughest competitor. Ready for the 4 elements? Here they are. It starts with discipline. Let's face it, no one makes it big without being disciplined. Whether you want to get stronger, lose weight, get faster, or get a promotion, it only happens when you apply discipline to your life. As business owners, we need to apply the concept of discipline in the expectations we have for our team members. Showing up late is not okay. Being out of uniform, whatever that is for your business, is not okay. Talking trash to a team member is not okay. Doing personal business while on the clock is not okay. Leaving the work area a mess at the end of your shift is not okay. Truth be told, we've gotten way too soft in many cases. We've exchanged acceptance for discipline. And until that changes, we'll continue to get what we tolerate. The military was exceptional at this. While I didn't like it at the time, I learned what it meant to be buttoned up. There were no exceptions. It all started with discipline, from wake up to lights out. And I see this from time to time with some businesses today. And those that expect and require discipline are always the best at serving the customer. The element of discipline is in great demand for businesses today. The second element is structure. In the military, it's known as your chain of command. Everyone knows what it was, everyone knows what it is, and everyone knows that you respect it. No questions asked. It solved a lot of questions and kept everyone focused on what mattered most, the mission of the organization. But in business today, we seem to be obsessed with not having structure. We've gone so far as to eliminate the organization chart or flatten it to the point that it has no meaning. And as a result, we're not sure who's responsible for what. And if no one's responsible, no one can be held accountable. But the sad part is, when we allow this to happen, the customer is the one who pays the price. They're the one who gets less than excellent service because there's little to no structure and no one's assuming the responsibility for the outcome. I tend to find that entrepreneurs especially don't like structure. It's a dirty word for many of them because it's not their nature. They prefer the free-flowing, creative approach to business. And while that may work for them personally, It's not the best when they want or need to run the business or engage with the customer. This is when structure is especially important. Discipline, coupled with structure, allows a business to perform remarkably well, whether the business owner is present or not. The third element is simplicity. This is something the military truly excelled in. I've always been amazed that in the military, someone with no formal education or training could successfully do some of the most difficult and technical jobs. Why? Because they broke down the assignment into simple step-by-step tasks. At the basic level, anyone could do the single task, so they trained and documented and performed at the level of simple, and it worked. Which I believe is part of the reason for those businesses who specialize and focus their efforts on delivering one or two specific products or services to their customers are often more successful because they keep it simple. The more complicated we make our processes, the more likely they're going to fail. Let's face it, when you send a rocket ship to the moon, things are going to be complicated, and the risk of failure is high. But most of us aren't trying to send a rocket to the moon. Our businesses are fairly simple. We need to keep our processes as simple as possible, which makes them harder to fail. You've heard it said, keep it simple, knucklehead, or something like that. It's a powerful idea when trying to build a bulletproof team. The fourth and final element is a positive mindset. Just saying this takes me back to my days in the military. There were times when I didn't have a positive mindset, and my commander always had a way to fix it. He would run the negative mindset right out of me. That's right, in the military, if you showed up with the wrong mindset, they quickly made you realize that you needed a mindset change. And those that had any sense about them got the message quickly and made the necessary adjustments. But think about that in business today. How often do you see a server or someone behind the counter and it's clear that they're having a bad day? They have a sour disposition and do the basic minimum to get rid of the distraction. Take care of the customer. Yet as business owners, we all too often look the other way and don't require our team members to show up with a positive mindset. In fact, many business owners themselves show up with negativity all over their face. How can we expect those on our team to be positive if we aren't positive ourselves? We can't. But it is possible to show up every day with a positive mindset. As business owners, we must do what it takes to show up that way every day, without exception. And one good way to do that is to adopt the idea that you're going to catch people doing things right rather than catching people doing things wrong. It's easy to point out the things that go wrong, but what if we focused our time and energy on what was going right and made the point to talk about that far more often than the other? Having a positive mindset is everything if you hope to be successful. Let's apply more of it in our business. There you have it. 4 elements that the military uses to transform just average people into a powerful fighting machine: discipline, structure, simplicity, and positive mindset. What would your business look like if you had 10 times more of each of these elements than you do today? How much better would your customers be served if every time they engaged with your business, they encountered someone who was disciplined, structured, applied simple, effective processes, and had a positive mindset? Let's incorporate these into your team building tool set and watch your team crush your toughest competition. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts. Number 1, transformation isn't simple. If it was, people wouldn't be spending billions of dollars each year trying to lose weight. Number 2, transformation is possible, especially if you focus on the 4 specific areas that the military has already proven that work. And number 3, imagine how much more powerful, impactful, and profitable your business would be if you focused on discipline, structure, simplicity, and positive mindset. You'd be unstoppable. If you'd like some additional support in this area or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss right rhythms and right people. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.